fired up. It's made a great decision.
Great teammates, coaches, and other people who want to be Super Bowl champions. And we are. We're going to do it this year.
And we're going places because we want to go places.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
What's up, everybody? Quick little update here. So accidentally I recorded this video with my gain on my mic like super high, and it makes it sound sort of weird. It's not clean like usual. So with that, I ended up lowering the volume, but unfortunately I can't fix like the weirdness that it sounds like. So it's not super loud, which is good, but the gain was way too high. I have it fixed for the next video, but for this one, I apologize. It's just something I can't fix it in post edit. At least I don't know how to. So it's in this video, but it's not super loud. It just sounds kind of weird, but trust me, you used to it. I got used to it while editing, and I was like, oh, okay, this is normal. So, you know, enjoy your cereal and enjoy the video.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another all-22 look at the Detroit Lions. This time, we're taking a look at the Lions against the Washington Commanders. And in this video, we are specifically looking at the Lions offense. I really wanted to highlight and showcase Ben Johnson and some of the play design, some of the creativity, and also some of the differences and things that have carried over from last season. Last week, we did the video taking a look at a couple of defensive players, specifically Hutchinson's debut, Malcolm Rodriguez's debut, as well as Jeff Okudah. So I wanted to make sure that we got an offensive video like this in there this week for sure. But with that being said, we may have to come back and do a defensive one as well, because same names, really good. Hutch had 3 sacks. Malcolm, I thought, was really good in this game. Alex is flying around. He looks like a completely different guy this year. And he basically shut a team out in the first half. You really want to take a look at how that came about. And actually, a lot of it was on first down. But we may do another video on that. However, I first want to make sure that we got out this offensive video. And there's some good, there's some bad in here. It all feels good, though, because you know you won the football game. It's just like, hey, even if it's a bad play, you still know you won the football game. So it's like, okay, you got that in the back of your mind. But we're going to look at some run plays, some pass plays, good and bad. Some of my thoughts just looking at it, and just highlight some of, I think, what Ben Johnson's creativity has done for this offense, how they utilize certain weapons, and also what it's done for Jared Goff. It cuts off kind of weird in the all-22 because you can't tell like what he's audibling and stuff like that, but I kind of remember from watching it live. With that being said, though, let's just dive right into this. First play that we're going to take a look at was a huge play to Amon-Ra St. Brown to get us going. 49-yard completion. He was wide open on this play. You're like, what the heck happened? I'm still not completely sure, I think, what happened on this play, but just some of the things that I noticed from this. So the first thing, of course, and I love this about Ben and the offensive staff putting it together, because they always seem like they have a really good feel on what their opponent's tendencies are, what they're going to look to do against them. They always seem to have a great feel for that, and they can scheme guys open. They really can. They can scheme guys open and get matchups that they want. They have done that really since Ben Johnson's played a bigger role in this offense. St. Brown showed him some more love once again, one of the best coaches that I've been around. But really, I mean, you saw it last year at the end of the year. We pointed it out. It's different because we weren't winning a lot of those games. But you could see it. You could see how he was getting matchups he wanted. Now it's a little bit more playmakers, a little bit more weapons. You could see it again now this season. I can see they have 3 weapons on this side. One here is you got a little bit of a 3-by-1 going on, and they seem to like to do a lot of cover 3, a lot of zone, but also a lot of matching. The creativity of this, we're going to take a look at it a couple times. But notice here you have Josh Reynolds' truck is on the top, so he's kind of getting that one-on-one. All right, so he's going to get that one-on-one. They're going to match up. He's on the weak side of the field. He's going to get a one-on-one. Your linebacker is going to take the running back out of the backfield. So on this side of the field, there is kind of a breakdown. You got 2 guys on one, and Amon-Ra St. Brown ends up running free. Well, the first thing that I noticed when I watched this is right here, okay? You can see how they're lined up, okay? On the inside, you have Josh Reynolds. On the outside, you have St. Brown. So Josh Reynolds then would be like the number 2 receiver. St. Brown would be the number 1. A bunch close together. But immediately you watch off the release how they switch it right here. Boom. You see how they switch that? Now Amon-Ra St. Brown's on the inside, and now Josh Reynolds on the outside. And I think that causes some confusion for them defensively, because a couple of things, and I don't know exactly what type of coverage that they're running. It looks like some form of a cover 3 type of coverage here, some sort of matching cover 3. But with that being said, a lot of times when these guys release on these vertical, releases, they end up having to pick up that guy. So I think that's what you partly see here, okay? So you have the slot corner 20, I think 25 here. No, I can't think of who that is off the top of my head. I should have looked that up. But either way, you got a vertical release, so he's going to pick that up. Now, you also have this outside corner, right? Now, if it is a cover 3, he's playing the deep third of the field. So this outside corner is also kind of stuck with this as well. Furthest most outside receiver on the play because of the switch at the line of scrimmage. So now 2 guys go to 1. You also bring TJ Hockenson. You see how they adjusted this a little bit later because, you know, later it's adjusted to a little bit different, you know, safety action on how they pick it up. But in this case, they utilize their strong safety who's coming down. He's playing, it looks like some sort of, you know, cover 3 buzz type of role here. He comes down. He's actually going to take Hockenson as he crosses the field. Like we said, linebacker takes running back, receiver takes cornerback. They're one-on-one there. And now it leads to some kind of breakdown, and you can see 2 guys are on Josh Reynolds. No one's covering Amon-Ra St. Brown. This safety was pulled out by TJ Hockenson, and now you have your 1 deep safety. You could see Jared Goff's eyes initially go out here, right? So now this safety, who's watching Jared Goff's eyes from his zone, there's no one in his zone right now. He's watching that. He's starting to flow over top. Goff then comes back late to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's wide open. Safety's now taking off up down the field, and St. Brown has no one there as he kind of just breaks that route off, right? He doesn't run this post towards the safety. He keeps himself out of the zone coverage. He runs himself basically open with this hard break on his route, okay? So you see what I'm saying? He doesn't like flow this thing upfield. It's a hard dig inside, and now with Goff looking deep, the safety, no one in his area, he starts to run deep with that, and then all of a sudden St. Brown comes back to it. Shout out to the pass pro as well here, and the dude was wide open. I mean, I definitely think it was some sort of breakdown for Washington, but I also think the Lions put him in a tough spot there where there's a lot of communicating that has to go on the fly. That's really tough, I think. And if you're not ready to see that, that can be difficult. And watch Goff's eyes, okay? So you see him hold the safety originally, then he's looking at this outside receiver, and at the last second, he adjusts and fires it to St. Brown. Safety's taken off because he looked at him to start the play, pulled him out there, and now came back St. Brown, and he's wide open. I just thought that was a really cool type of play design that they ran on that play, and that's the first one that I want to showcase. There's multiple plays here that we'll take a look at, but that was the first one because that was the first big play. We're going to take a look at some bad as well, some incomplete passes as well, and that's what we'll look at here. But, again, I said Ben Johnson, I feel like, can get matchups that he wants, and he does really well against coverages. And I think what's awesome is you're starting to now see the growth of Jared Goff on the field getting a sense of the coverage like Ben Johnson, right? Because Ben Johnson sees it, seeing it kind of through those eyes. Goff is now getting senses of certain things, and it's allowing him to audible and get the Lions in the right play. And he did that for the run game a couple of times. He did that a lot. Sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of times he did. And here's an example of how they get this matchup. We talked about it coming in the game. Linebackers, we said attack the linebackers. Jamin Davis saw like 7 receptions last week. In this case, he actually played some pretty good coverage on Swift. We'll see. I don't know if he's 100% healthy or not, but he did. Okay, with that being said, though, look how they do this. All right, so the outside corner on this play, there's no one out there, so he's kind of tight into the formation, and they're going to release TJ Hockenson upfield. So this outside corner is going to take that. Because he's in the backfield, the cornerback's really not paying attention to it. He's pulled upfield by Hockenson. Now, automatically, the linebacker's got to fly out there. These cornerbacks are not in a zone where they're going to be flowing out there, right? It almost looks like it sort of looks like that, like they're playing the hashes, and you can see that 2 outside corners. It kind of looks like that, sort of. Regardless, all right, you can see that it is zone as they pass it off in here. That gets the linebacker free on Swift, and he was actually covered pretty well. Maybe just a yard too far for DeAndre Swift on that play, but still being able to get that matchup is exactly what Ben Johnson was looking for, and they try to hit it right away. And it's just cool that you're able to do that. They were able to find that kind of matchup. He also had Josh Reynolds for sure, as you see there, but the matchup was to get Swift one-on-one with the linebacker, and they got that. It was just good coverage, and that just is what it is. Sometimes you don't hit it, but you got what you wanted. In a way, this play is similar to what Washington did to us defensively when they had Charles Harris on their running back. I want to take a look at some runs as well. This is, of course, the big run, okay, and we're going to look at some more. Not just this run, we'll look at a couple more as well. But I had to take a look at the 50-yard run by Swift. This play was awesome, and we're going to look at it from this angle because I think it looks better. All right. Here we go. They always play the numbers game with the run game. They always do that. You can see kind of how the numbers are looking on this play. And they're going to go like an outside zone right here. Now, Lions didn't seemingly have the most success on these zone runs in this game. They had some that were definitely blown up. And as Rad said yesterday, there was a lot of power running plays the Lions did. They did a lot of misdirection in this game, which I thought was great. I think the Lions are really perfecting the misdirection run game. Here they go to an outside zone, though. And you just got to point out some of the individuals blocking here. And just the movement. Because, yes, the Lions, again, they lost blocks in this game, specifically in the zone blocking style. However, at the same time, they also had some really darn good blocks, and they springboarded. Like, there was a lot of runs where no one was even touched. Give credit to the linemen, tight ends, receivers, but look at like a run like this. So you got Evan Brown who walls up his guy. I see Taylor Decker turn his body, kind of open that cutback lane. Also notice Dan Skipper out there getting into the second level and then working and staying connected with this guy. And then it's DeAndre Swift, who you can see there's no penetration into the backfield. Lions are getting all connection right off the line. There's no one exploding into the backfield, cutting this off. Brown, good block. Stenberg, he does his thing, and then it gives Swift, I mean, look at the vision here. You have so much room on this play to see everything, and he could just make this cutback. Maybe he's touched there. Regardless, he just takes off for 50 yards. Hey, if Mayfield's 100%, he scores. I don't know. Maybe it's a little more Scooty scores in that play. But you see the blocking, and I had to point out some of the blocking that the Lions did on that play. Have some misses as well, and these aren't as much as maybe the play designs, but it is, it's there, right? It's there. We just missed. This is one where I think Jared Goff just missed the pass. He had his guy. He had St. Brown. St. Brown's not the fastest dude. He's also not the longest guy, so it's not the biggest target to throw to, but he had him in goal line man formation defensively here. He's got a free rusher. Goff is usually really good at staying in the pocket and delivering. This time I think he found himself kind of fading back a little bit, but it was still a deliverable pass. We've seen him complete passes like that, and he just missed the throw. He let it out there too far, but he had him on Ross St. Brown on the route that he wanted. We'll take another look like this. He had the guy that he wanted, and he just put it too far. That just is what it is on that play. Jumped off a route that looked like it was actually going to be there, okay? So he's going to start on the right side. Everything's timing in the red zone. You got to be pinpoint in the red zone. They bunch it up on the right side here, and you can see what they're looking for, all right? You can see what they're looking for. There's a lot going on here, a lot of passing off that's going to have to be done, and they're going to run this whip route with Josh Reynolds. So you can see he's kind of grabbed there. They run this whip route with Josh Reynolds, but with T. Hockenson going upfield, he's pulling his guy out of the play. St. Brown's coming to the outside. He's kind of pulling his guy out of the play, the cornerback. He drops this off at like the perfect time to make it so Goff doesn't throw this football, because as you can see here with St. Brown working into the flat, he stops, gets the attention of the linebacker, and then continues to go like almost like a jerk route. But as you can see, he's going to drop it off right there, and that's when Jared Goff pulls it down, I think, when he sees that linebacker, because he doesn't want to throw him right into that, throw a pick potentially, and because of that, now he's working back to his second read, which is DeAndre Swift running an angle route. Safety comes down, takes that away. Great job. That's like the 1-2. Okay, they did that a lot in LA. And now he doesn't have that. So now he's looking at his third guy, and he's kind of in, I think, like a panic mode here, because this is not the route for Chark. He's just working his way back to the ball at this point. There is a little bit of pressure, so maybe he kind of felt that and was like, I need to go. But it was also probably that internal timer. And I think he still had a shot, but at the same time, when it's not a route that's necessarily on schedule and your guy's just kind of running back to the ball, it's hard to know where he's going to go. And in this tight window situation, Goff is trying to put it on him, right? He's trying to throw this bullet right on him. And you can see how this works out. Runs like a little bit of a fade here. All right, you can see where he's looking right now. So he's going to try to put this on him. Well, you see how Chark kind of wraps it around when he's throwing it? I think that leads to the pass being behind him, because he's coming back to the ball. Goff is throwing it. Chark kind of wraps around to try to get like an inside leverage there, and it leads to a missed pass. The perfect thing for us is that it worked out is that we ended up getting a safety, and it actually worked out better than us scoring a touchdown, because we got the safety, punt return, then the touchdown. So it was like an extra 2 points for us, and it kept the ball in their hands longer. So it was actually good that we didn't get it, right? But hey, I mean, hey, you know what? That's how it goes, man. You got to compliment each other. That's what we did. All right, now this one is something that we've seen a ton. Josh Reynolds from Jared Goff. Like, this is a play that if you didn't see this last year, you probably never watched. You probably even didn't watch the Lions game last year with Josh Reynolds, or two, you never watched us talk about it, because this is like the go-to for Jared Goff, okay? You got these outside leverage corners. You can see how he's playing this one. Single eye safety, and I thought it was good. You actually saw a lot of run plays in this game where the Lions got two deep safeties. They would creep outside 7 yards, though, and it was nice to have that for the run game. Now, when we put the extra offensive lineman, it was always one safety, if any safeties, but the Lions still had success there as well. They can run the football, which is making them tough. It's making them tough because even when defenses load up against the run, they're still running the football. It's like, it's very difficult for opponents because they still run the ball. And you talk about the play action, it's always like the perfect world. Like, yeah, we'll run the set play action. Teams are not stopping the run right now, and the Lions are having big plays, big chunks, and are doing a lot off of it, where they have a lot of different options. Some we saw a ton of, okay, we saw this a ton. Gave credit to T.J. Hockenson on this block. Goff ended up getting hit, so it wasn't like a great block. But he held up. I mean, he got initial contact, and he held up long enough for Goff to at least get the ball out on what would be like a split zone kind of look here. Picks up the block against the D-lineman. You don't expect him to really hold that block, but you're just waiting for Chark to make that break. And, man, Chark, he runs this. This is Chark's best route, man. I think this is Chark's best route. The way that he runs this route is always money. The way that just like how he runs this, okay? So here we go. Ooh, that little break inside. You get him to open up, and then boom, he just slams it down. I mean, that is that's clean. And Goff was on the money with that throw. That throw was a dot. It was right on him. Big time completion. It was like a 30. I don't even know what we gained on that play. Something. We gained a lot of yards, okay? That's what I'll say. Cool is that the very next play, the Lions came back and said, you know what? Let's take another shot. Let's go to DJ Chark. They were aggressive, and I love when they get creative and do stuff like this. We saw this last year. Actually, if you remember last time, I don't know if this is the last time we did it, but I remember that we did this last season, and I think Swift tried to throw it back, and he was like hit as he threw it, and it like he ended up throwing it, I think, forward, so it didn't like count, but it was a mess. I think that was against San Fran or something. Regardless, this play worked. We did a nice little toss. Well, it should have worked, I guess. See, they didn't cover it. They did a pretty good job covering this up. Watch how Chark kind of plays this off, like, okay, it's a run. I'm going to go block, pick up the safety, and then he kind of just stops on the play. He plays like it would be a run, right? Sit, and then he goes, and it's good to do it to Chark because he's got that speed. The Washington Commanders, if we take a look at defense, did something similar, but the Lions corners were all over it. They kind of like stalk blocked, and then all of a sudden they try to take off, and Okudah just was not having it. He was all over it. But here you can see him walking, then he takes off, and he gets a step. I mean, you could say, well, maybe you could put it out earlier. I'm not really like, I mean, okay, maybe you could put it a little bit further, but it was right in his hands. And it was tough, but it was right in his hands, so I can't really ask for a much better throw than that. I mean, at that point, I'm so much nitpicking, it's like, it's insane. It was a good shot play. You didn't come up with it. That stinks. But it's what you're looking for, and that's why you got a guy like DJ Chark for your ability to do things like this, because he can just blow by a safety if he's flat-footed. And he gave him I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what else are you going to do? But I like the idea, though. I like how they did it, and obviously, you know, the blocking and everything set up, and they were able to get it off. We'll show this one, even though this one was like a big run. I mean, maybe Craig didn't hit the hole correctly, but I liked how they do this, right? I like how they bring St. Brown like a short in, and then they have him basically become like a lead blocker. As we said, the Lions did a lot of misdirection in this game. This was not one of those. But I like how they use St. Brown here to have him bring him in, and then he also blocks. And it's kind of a cool way to use him, kind of like come through here and pick up 22. You can see the blockings there. He breaks inside, and, you know, we don't get a great gain on that play. But I like how they do it. And you know St. Brown's going to battle, so I thought I would at least showcase St. Brown going to work. Like a 3rd and 7. Jared Goff audible to this run. You can see him changing up the play. And this is what we talk about, getting us in the right play. This stuff doesn't get a lot of attention, but I think it needs to, because he got us into a really good play here. You can see the numbers. You can see the 2 deep safeties, how soft they're playing here. And I think it had a very legitimate potential to pick up a first down. It was just by this much, right? You didn't get it. But you could see the same thing that can happen in the pass game too. I thought it was a good play that he got us into, and I know Dan Campbell credited that. So Lions are going to do like a trap run on this play. As you can see here, Taylor Decker basically just works immediately to the second level, lets his guy by, and that's when Evan Brown kind of scoops around and tries to pick up that block. It's kind of like trying to springboard you to the second level, right? And that's what they do here. Here he picks up the block, and it's like, oh, hey, Swift, you know, you got it if you go right. You got it. He doesn't. And it's okay, you know, because maybe the D-line would have got him. The D-lineman kind of like just got in too far inside, just like a step too far inside for Decker. It looked close. Like, yeah, it was close. But I like the fact that we got into the right play call here, and I'm not afraid to run the ball on 3rd down. But you can see it. You can see it. He kind of like got himself out of the way of Decker, who I thought was blocking real well, and he just got enough of him. But regardless, I like how they got into the play. This one also may have come via an audible. Via an audible? Why did I say it like that? And it works really well. So first thing they're going to do is they're going to motion Amon-Ra out of this play, and that's going to pull this cornerback out of the play. So now all of a sudden you have numbers for what the Lions are going to look to do. Okay, they're going to bring Penei Sewell outside, and they're going to have DeAndre Swift run a swing route. DJ Chark's going to come down because his cornerback's not going to be here, and basically get a block on Jamin Davis, and now he has a lot of room. He picks up 9 yards. I thought he had more. He didn't look like 100% healthy on this run, but you can see once he pulls him out of the play, how soft they're playing in coverage. Look at their safeties, right? 2 deep. It looks like a cover 4 drop. You see how soft they're playing? Now you have a lot of room to work with, and what's cool about this play that immediately came to my mind, think about what we did last week. We tried to throw that quick pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown and asked Penei Sewell to get out there and pick up a block. Did not work. So you adjust it a little bit. Here's what they do. Another soft coverage look. So how do they adjust to that? Well, let's actually do it like this. Let's get Penei Sewell block. Now get out to the second. Now get outside. Be the lead blocker. He's not trying to go pick up someone because there's no one out there. DJ Chark, because how soft the coverage they're playing, that's why it could have definitely been an all about the line of scrimmage, because you can just see it. It's like they don't have bodies for this. This is the right play to run. Chark just needs to basically get in the way. He doesn't pick up a block here because he's running a route. He's just getting in the way. And then you have a lead blocker in Penei Sewell. So it was almost like last week's play that we tried to do, but it didn't work to St. Brown. But this time you run it kind of a different way, and it works really well. It's like the little things like that, like just I don't know. And if that was an audible line, it makes you really confident about the growth that Goff is taking within this offense with Ben Johnson and what he's seeing and how he's getting us in the right play. Because if he did that, that's 100% getting you into the right play. And it's nice to see that they respect at least somewhat our pass game, because we were running the ball well, to play this deep. Have 4 guys deep. It tells you some of the respect that they have maybe for the ability to take shots. And if you remember, we just took a look at it, Lions have already hit multiple shots. So now it's set up, they're playing back a little bit. Okay, they're playing back. Sweet, I'll throw this little swing screen out there. I mean, it's perfect, and that's how you play off of the deep shots that you can take. You can open plays like that up. It was a misdirection run, okay? Lions did a lot of this, and they've done a lot of this, okay? Now they have an extra offensive lineman. Who did they have out there, receiver? Let me see, Amon-Ra. So they basically tipped their hand. Hey, we're running this football. That's basically what they do when they do things like this. They still keep a safety deep, but you're basically telling them we're running the football here, okay? We got Hawkinson, we got Brock, and we got an extra offensive lineman. So just watch how they block, though. Got to give credit to the big guys. You know what I mean? Look at Taylor Decker first off, how he just seals this off. Oh my goodness, look at the drive. I mean, he just takes him out of the play completely, right? It starts with kind of like a double team, and then the guard slides off, but Taylor Decker just drives this guy. Then you have the pull, kind of a pull kick here from Logan Stenberg to pick up this edge rusher. Everybody's doing their job. He picks up the edge rusher, but Hawk holds it for a second to allow the pull kick to get there. So now he has an opportunity to pick this up, so Jamal's not getting smacked in the backfield and having to try to avoid this guy, okay? That also, the misdirection, it can give, especially if they're biting on it, and you have to sell non-misdirection. If you're going to hit misdirection, you have to sell it, and the Lions do that. They give you both looks. So here, when they try to set it up, it can pause these linebackers and allow the pulling guys to come around and have time. Tight end comes around, picks up Holcomb. He has a little bit of extra time to do it because they're not immediately coming downhill, and now you use some of that downhill aggressiveness against them. You pick up blocks beautifully. I mean, look at this. Are you kidding me? This dude has ran like 11, 12 yards without being touched. You can't get a better, I mean, that is money. We're playing to our strengths like this. We're pulling Logan Stenberg, which is one of the things that I think he's best at. You're also running to Taylor Decker's side, and at the same time, you're not putting a lot of stress on Dan Skipper. You're kind of asking Dan Skipper to maybe potentially get to the second level here, but you're not putting a lot of stress on him. You're using just Taylor Decker to just drive. TJ Hawkinson just needs to hold up for a second, right? To boom, hold up for a second. Now allow him to come around. I mean, that's just well done, man. Really well done. Lions also put a 6th offensive lineman in there. I think this may be, when the Lions talked about, hey, look, we want to try to take some stress off some of these interior guys. Well, you put a 6th offensive lineman out there. They did it a lot in the run game, and now they're doing it in the pass game. I think that's a way that they decided creatively to say, okay, let's take some stress off these inside guys, give them a little more help by actually putting another offensive lineman on the field. It's weird. You don't see it a lot, but that's what they're doing here with Matt Nelson. He's motioning around. He's doing all these things. Here he is in pass protection. You don't see this a lot, but the Lions are doing it. You just don't see this a ton. With that, though, watch how the progressions are kind of set up here for Jared Goff. I absolutely love this because we see this route combo a lot. The Lions do this all the time. Basically, they have their outside guy, in this case is Brock Wright, just run a go route, and then they have St. Brown underneath run a deep out route. What it does is it can pull this outside corner, and we did it at the beginning of the game. Remember to Hawkinson, but the cornerback kind of just bit down on it and laid a big hit. So you pull this guy out, you pull the outside corner, and because they're in zone coverage, you got a couple of things here. Either this linebacker or cornerback going to jump on the St. Brown out route, try to get underneath it, undercut it, break it up, and if he does that, now all of a sudden his second progression is probably wide open. If he doesn't, you throw it to the first guy in St. Brown. So watch this play, okay? Right here, boom. So he's going to run this out route. Boom. Okay, if the cornerback completely jumps on St. Brown, he has Jamal Williams wide open. If he ends up just sitting and maybe breaking down towards his underneath drag, you have St. Brown wide open. Now, he's kind of an in-between. Goff doesn't love it. Also, I think the guys putting their hands up, the pressure feel, he's like, it's not there. But it works perfectly because it ends up that this guy gets pulled out anyway because of the little fake he had, because of the pressure that was there, and the guys putting their arms up. He comes back to Jamal Williams, so they added kind of another element to this, which I love. We talked about this before week 1. The Lions got to do stuff like this. They had another element to it where you can come back to this route that's open because this guy's pulled out of the play, and TJ Hawkinson is kind of crossing with him. TJ Hawkinson's route backs up the other off-ball linebacker. So when you come back to Jamal Williams, there was no one for the linebacker that initially picks up Jamal to pass it off to. So that first off-ball linebacker notices that. By the time he notices it, he's already trailing. He's got no one to give the responsibility to, and now he's chasing Jamal Williams. And look at another run play, because why not? This one's for Craig Reynolds. You're going to see another big hole that they create. And again, I'm not showing this to say like, hey, look, The Detroit Lions did not have any bad run plays. They did, but I'm trying to keep the video somewhat short. They did have some bad run plays, but I do want to highlight sometimes we have some really darn good blocks because we have some bad blocks in there. I think Logan struggled in pass pro again, but there are some good blocks as well, and I want to showcase some of those. Here specifically, you can look at a guy like Logan Stenberg, who I think had a really nice block on this play. All right, you can see him, boom, getting up to the second level, going to work. You can see everybody here, Evan Brown going to work on Jamin Davis, getting up to the second level. Another one of those plays that I believe this was at the line of scrimmage and audible that Jared Goff made. He probably did a hard count. They showed some pressure, and Goff's going to take advantage of it. So again, they're sitting in the same zone coverage that they've been running, but they're also matching a lot of these things. So the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff has a free rusher right here. He throws right into the rush. He's been doing good finding his hot reads. Throws right into it, right at Amon-Ra St. Brown. Quick slant, right on the money. Great timing, and it's a nice pickup for a first down. I thought I would at least showcase that because they're going to blitz, and he knew where to go with the football with the blitz. Let's take a look at another misdirection play. Again, Matt Nelson out there. They're going 6 offensive linemen. They're going to put him in motion. All right. He's going to pick up the edge guy on this play, and you can see Logan Stenberg come around. He picks up the block. The misdirection to me, what I like about it is the Lions are using it all for timing as well, and they're able to get to where they're supposed to be, but everybody's blocking. They're not allowing that immediate penetration into the backfield. Boom, again, Taylor Decker. Now because of the misdirection, you give a second for Logan Stenberg to work his way around up to Holcomb. All right, so he's able to pick up his block, and there he goes. He squirts through and he picks up 7 more yards. There's a couple more plays, a touchdown, and then this play. Okay, now they're going to get a linebacker this time on Josh Reynolds. Okay, now also, take a look at TJ Hawkinson. Okay, now you can just see by how their defense is set up. They are dropping into what looks like a zone coverage once again because I don't think they'd play man. I just don't think they would do that. So it looks like zone coverage, similar to their cover 3 looks. They get the safety to come down and pick up TJ Hawkinson. They're showing 5. So what do? Well, he drops out. He drops right into the hole. So you're thinking, oh, maybe that's the extra rusher. He's going to throw it right there. He's going to drop out. So you're thinking maybe that caused him to hesitate. Goff's going to start here with TJ Hawkinson. And as he sees the guy's going to run with him, he's going to pull him out of the play, basically. So now he knows I can come back right to Josh Reynolds. Why? Because Josh Reynolds, this guy is, look, basically what Goff, I think, sees on this play is this guy is carrying and picking up basically DJ Hawkinson, which he has to. If he just passes off, the guy's going to be wide open unless his safety darts over here, and he's still kind of open. So because of that, you know he's pulled out of the play. You see this guy drop, but knowing his route, he kind of pauses, then shoots across the middle. Well, you have a linebacker on a receiver. That's money all day. I mean, you get that matchup, you're going right to it. As simple as this may look, they are putting so much stress on the defense here because, again, if the slot receiver is not carried into the end zone, that's an immediate touchdown for the quarterback. So he is forcing him to carry that slot receiver into the end zone, which means Josh is going to be open underneath because there's going to be no linebacker because it's going to be one-on-one with receiver in Josh Reynolds. Then at the same time, you have Josh sit, pause, and then shoot across, which ultimately forces his safety to have to wait, right? So everything plays together. You can see how the timing works on this because, again, if Josh immediately cuts across the middle, now the safety can play it different, and they're coming down on this play because the linebacker can immediately pass off. But because he hesitates, they don't even know he's shooting across the play. It's an outstanding design. And then they finish it off with a touchdown, which is really just set up again by all of the blocking that the receivers do, and also again you have a jet sweep look, right? You have the fake jet sweep, which the Lions end up hitting later, so you think it's all runs. No, they actually hit on the pass here. Hawk comes around to continue to sell kind of that run sell, and then of course you have the fake blocking, and he just like leaks out behind him. Good ball, a beautiful toe tap, and the Lions score. This one is kind of your near interception that he threw to DJ Chark, and this was on a 3rd down. So, a lot of times when you have these quick routes as well, it's timing. Like, you got to get that ball out. You can't just hold on to the football. But at the same time, it was a near interception. But I think when you see this play, you can kind of see how it actually does happen. And it's just, again, it's another good play by the corner. This corner, I think this corner may have been a different. I think the same one that made a great play later in the game. We're going to see it on Amon-Ra St. Brown running an out route. But here, as you can see, he doesn't really get fooled. So we see them carrying, picking up a lot of things in their zone coverage. Okay, we've seen that a lot. But I think the cornerback throws us off a little bit because he's kind of in this flat area of the zone coverage, and he does his job well. But they utilize this motion in for DJ Chark, and usually what we've seen in the past is they'll motion this guy and he'll just drag across. Teams may think their tendencies is to have him come in motion and drag across and have him to pass this off. He stops on his route. Now, St. Brown's going to release vertical, but this cornerback does not get turned or, hesitate at all on that. This lets it go by him, playing it really well, and he ends up passing it off to the outside corner like immediately, and then he jumps on this basically whip route that DJ Chark was trying to run that was kind of set up based on going against their own tendencies on that play. So I think the whole idea of this play design is that, look, we're going to release these receivers vertical, so that's going to make the zone defenders want to drop back. Then we're going to show DJ Chark shooting across like he's going to shoot across the field. So the flat defender is not going to be worried about getting out to the flat. He's going to start to kind of jump inside or back. He does neither, and it's a really good, well-played
play by the corner.
Goff's perspective, hey, you know, if he carries this at all, he's going to be wide open. I mean, I got him. But he doesn't. He dives on this and makes an outstanding play. Probably could have let him a little bit more, but that's why that came about. And then, of course, because he threw it, St. Brown opened up. If he didn't throw it, St. Brown probably wouldn't have been open, but at the same time, he could have faked it and came back. But you can see from his perspective how that happened, and that happens, right? You make pre-snap determinations. Every quarterback does it. You know, you can't go out there and, well, I mean, you do that a lot. Every quarterback does a lot, and this time it just did not work well. And with all the zone coverage they're doing, I think the Lions try to take advantage of it here on this second down play that fell incomplete, and that's seemingly what they tried to do, right? With T.J. Hockenson and Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're kind of putting this guy in. He has to pick one or the other. He breaks. You can see how his release upfield is not like, you know, vertical. It's kind of to the inside. So T.J. Hockenson initially releases to the inside towards this off-ball linebacker. You see how he releases there. This cornerback then is going to be more focused and kind of pull over to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then he gets behind him. So now he's behind the linebacker. Of course, the linebacker can't see him. Linebacker sensing he's probably still moving that way. Hawk sits it down. And now we can kind of slide to this open area that was created because of really how he released it, and St. Brown sitting down kind of opened that up. With that being said, though, you can see Jared Goff, he fires this thing basically to the hash mark, and it looked like Hawk was like, dude, what are you doing, man? And I don't know how they're practicing this, as if he should keep going. I would think they kind of want him to sit down, not too far outside of it, because, of course, the further you go, you're just walking back into this zone guy. That's an issue. But Goff basically fires this thing at the hash mark. Hawk kind of moves off the hash mark. That's where basically Goff threw the football, and it fell incomplete.
Now, if Goff feels like he has all day to throw and he's just standing back there, he could probably wait a little bit longer on Hawk, but he kind of hurries it up. There's a little bit of pressure on the left side, and there's also that internal clock.
I mean, that's just something they got to clean up between the two of them. Because, again, he throws it at the hash mark. He fires that thing in there. Hawk's kind of working outside the linebacker, outside of the hash mark. You can see he throws it right on it, and it falls incomplete. Still a catchable ball. It was a really tough catch, though, but at the same time, they weren't on the same page exactly. Now, this is the shot play on a third down that they got. Again, I love the play design here because you end up getting this open shot play. It's just unfortunate that we didn't actually hit the shot. But again, you have to like the design of the play that the Lions are running. And they got the look, though, that they wanted. It would have been great to hit this. They didn't. Again, it happens. But they got the look that they wanted, and it was set up to me by Josh Reynolds' route. Right, you release upfield. Okay, now he's like, okay, he's passing it off to the safety, right? That's what they do in zone. We already saw that. We saw that on the play we looked at with the deep pass they threw to Swift. They're playing this zone coverage. So when Josh Reynolds releases his direction, but then breaks inside, he's going to pass this off to the safety. So he's like, okay, pass it off. Now I can drop and get depth. But what messes him up is that he can't drop and get depth because now he sits down and breaks back to the outside. So as he starts to flow back to the outside, Jared Goff can look there. And now the cornerback's like, hold up, he's coming back my way. Let me sink back down. At that point, it puts this defender in a terrible position. I think this is 20. Yeah, puts him in a bad spot as he's trailing DJ Chark. And usually what guys like to do is when you run these routes that are completely across the field, you like to pass these off. Teams do it all the time in play action. They like to pass these routes off because it's basically uncoverable with a fast guy to pick up on one half of the field and chase him all the way across the field. It's basically impossible for these guys to do that. So they usually pass them off. Well, they can't get depth because of this route. This safety sits down because of this route. He doesn't even see DJ Chark coming because of kind of the timing of the route, where DJ Chark is at. Doesn't even see, it's not on his radar. He's breaking down here, so this safety's not getting depth anymore. Then he breaks back outside, and it's like, oh shoot, this cornerback's got to drop down. So you create this wide open pass. He has no one to pass it off to, so he's on an island just chasing the guy. Jared Goff just puts it too far out there. He let it like a touchdown pass. Probably should have just threw it shorter, more to maybe the right, and he could have put it on and picked up a huge chunk. It was like 20 seconds left anyway, but he had an opportunity there. Regardless, again, it's the play design. And if you're getting guys open, you just got to trust that your guys are going to eventually make the plays. And that time they didn't. They made some plays. They didn't make that one, but you trust that they will. You trust that they will with more reps if you can get them open. And that's what they are doing. They are getting these guys open right now. They did this multiple times last season. I think this was also a really good break by the cornerback to put Goff in a tough spot to try to throw this pass. I think he went to the right guy. It's just a tough spot that he kind of put him on this pass. Okay, now because again, how they're lined up, they're going trips on this side. They have one receiver here. The running backs, so the linebacker's going to pick him up. This guy's going to pick up the receiver in DJ Chark. Now on this case, okay, because of how this is set up, this cornerback's going to drop and get depth. The safety's going to drop down into the box in this cover 3 look, and he's going to end up taking Josh Reynolds, who's crossing the field. Someone has to account for him, and he does, because otherwise, I mean, if you think about it, if this guy dropped down and he dropped deep, now all of a sudden Josh Reynolds is probably wide open, so that would be a very big issue. So they can't do it like that. They have to drop their safeties if they're going to cover 3 like this. And that's a tendency, I guess, probably on early downs to do that. Or this was actually 3rd down. It's probably just a tendency of them. So they kind of have to do what they ended up doing. The safety has to come down, which means this safety is going to drop deep. Now, the timing of this route, I think, also can get some issues if the cornerback plays it well. And I think that's what you see here. So obviously, TJ Hockenson, he's going to break upfield, right? He's going to release upfield, and that's going to take this outside corner with him. Okay, so now you're pulling him out of the play, and now St. Brown is basically wide open. However, this cornerback, again, plays it well, watching Jared Goff's eyes, and he ends up basically just undercutting this route. He doesn't get pulled off really at all, and Monroe St. Brown really can't just jump off the line and run this like speed out route, because then it throws off the timing. Because he kind of walked into this route, look how slow he kind of gets into this. He really does need to do that, because this outside corner then is going to pick up TJ. If he gets into this immediately, this outside corner might break down on Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he kind of has to time it up with TJ Hockenson, show inside, then break outside. But it's so slow developing that if Goff looks at it like he did and there was some pressure, now he can undercut this. And it puts Goff in a tough spot where if he throws this inside, it might get picked off. So he's really got to put a lot on this ball, and he tries to. I think he put it too far outside. But he's also, again, not the biggest receiver, St. Brown, so it's not like the biggest, range, target that you have, so it falls incomplete. But it's really well done, I think, by the corner on that play. Benjamin St. Juste, actually. Shout out to Benjamin. That's a good play. And he's a long corner, right? So he covers a lot of area whenever he's there. They end up getting the route that they're looking for back to Amon-Ra St. Brown here. And he's basically just going to play through the cornerback on this play. They do this a lot, right? We already talked about this. They do this kind of thing a lot. May have been a pre-snap determination, potentially, because the guys over here aren't really running routes. They're not really running routes. So this may have been decided before snap. He's going to this side of the field. And the safety's also kind of cheating this way. So he's going to this side of the field. He got 2-1-2, pull him off. St. Brown basically plays through the cornerback and then runs an out route. It's more of that speed out route that you see, sort of. It's more of that. It's not as much of the hesitation. And this is one of Goff's better balls, actually. I think he put it on him. He threw he had a little mustard on this pass. He put a little heat on this one and put it right on him. That was a money throw. So as this was set up all game, we just took a look at the Josh Reynolds TD, right? We didn't show all the runs like this, but they continued over and over to show this jet sweep. And finally they give it to him. And really, as you can see, the linebackers aren't even paying attention to it. Look at how the linebackers are playing this. There's no one shifting or moving because they can't. The Lions are running pretty well, and they continue to show this over and over, and they're not even getting any signs of like, yeah, we're going to hand this to him. They're not giving you any thought to even believe that. So the linebackers aren't even moving with it. They don't move. They don't even seem to pay any kind of attention to it. They still don't even know he has the football right now. The only guy that does is the guy that's actually going in motion with him, which we've seen all game. He's going to do that because they match all of these things. So anytime they motion, he comes with him. So the only guy that's with him is the guy that's the cornerback that's motioning with him, and that's Quintez Cephas then, because his guy looks like, his guy is paying attention to Cephas and not the backfield. He doesn't see what's going on. He is locked into Quintez Cephas, as it looks like pre-snap here. He looks like he's in some man coverage. He is completely locked on to Cephas. He's not even looking in the backfield. So he doesn't even see what's happening. He's thinking maybe he's running some sort of route, and then Cephas just gets in the way. It wasn't a great block because this guy actually ended up making the tackle. Maybe if he would have laid him out, he may have scored a touchdown here. But regardless, it's a nice setup that the Lions really had working all game. Well, probably not. This guy caught him too. One more plays that I want to take a look at. This was just another one of those TJ Hockenson plays that the Lions had. You can see they used the motion. They kind of pulled the linebacker out. Goff steps up in the pocket. He's got him. I think Goff probably just needs to make this throw and put it on him. But he throws it to the hash mark. I think this one Goff missed it. I would say the last one I think was more of a landmark issue. To me, this one though, I think he missed Hockenson. It looked like Hockenson was much more on maybe where they wanted him to be, and I think Goff just threw this to the outside of him. I think he just missed him on this play, and I don't think he's worried about any other defender, because if he was, he probably would have threw it more this way. Maybe the safety, he was like, I don't think so though. I think he just missed the guy on this play. He threw it outside. You can see how it kind of tailed off at the end there. That was kind of freaky. It didn't look like it was on him. It tailed off. I think he just missed this pass, and you can kind of see his reaction afterwards, like, dang, I think he just missed this throw. And that happens. But, again, you're getting guys open. He used his eye, steps up in the pocket, pulls this linebacker out. It's what you want, and I think he just misfired. And that can happen. You can see his reaction. I mean, especially when you're trying to throw it hard, like, when you try to put some mustard on the thing, you can misfire. And I think that was one of the misfires in this game. This one I have to showcase, because it's not like it's the most creative play. Like, you're like, oh, I've seen the Lions do this all the time. But what's awesome about this is compare it to last year. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, again, Matt Ellis is out there, 6th offensive lineman. You get a sense this is a run, right? I mean, look at this for a second. I always say this, and I probably should have paid attention to this play. Like, why did we do this? Why do we put, Khalif Raymond or St. Brown out there as the only receiver? Like, no one's thinking they're passing the ball. So they're going single high safety. But Khalif Raymond is out there. He is fast. So even if they don't think you're throwing the ball, they do understand that guy is fast. St. Brown maybe doesn't get this attention. Khalif Raymond does get this attention. And the Lions, they just put this right back in my face because they're like, oh, we don't ever throw this? Well, here you go. Take a look at this one. But what stands out to me is this. Obviously, the linebackers jump up. They're all expecting run. Khalif Raymond's speed. Hockenson breaks. You can see how he releases towards the outside. So the safety basically just says, okay, I'm going to this guy, Khalif Raymond, the speedster. He's going upfield. This guy's breaking towards the outside. My cornerback can hold that down because I'm the only guy out here. But what's huge about this is who they're using. Last year, the Lions, I don't remember a play where the Lions put Hockenson in this spot. Usually, it would be Khalif Raymond, and this guy would be maybe Josh Reynolds at times, which I liked, but a lot of times it was St. Brown or Khalif Raymond. It was something like that. And what happened, I think, a lot of times was Goff would not throw the ball because height-wise, it's kind of hard to see your guy behind the linebackers, and it's like a really tough spot. You don't want to put it too high because you throw it over their head, it might get picked off, and you don't want to put it low because the linebackers are sitting there, especially if they don't bite heavy. So Goff sometimes wouldn't throw the football. Well, on this play, you use T.J. Hockenson, and I'm like, this is genius. It's a subtle change, but it's genius. Jared Goff is easily going to be able to see T.J. Hockenson over the linebackers. A little thing on his arm, it threw me off. But to use Hockenson, I thought was so smart by Ben Johnson. Whoever came up with this idea, hey, let's use the big guy on this route. And the safety's not going to be like, hey, Hockenson might get over top. You know, it's Khalif Raymond. Who do I want? I'm taking Khalif Raymond. I'm taking the other guy. So he takes Raymond. So Goff has basically a one-on-one with a big target behind the linebackers that's going to be much easier to see, to the point where you can see he holds onto the football and just waits till he passes through and puts it up there. He's able to put it up a little bit more on the top shelf than he can with other guys, like when St. Brown would run that. I thought it was subtle, but I thought it was genius. That's an adjustment the Lions made this year. I thought that was big time, and that's probably something that they saw. And again, look at how he holds his safety and then comes back to it. But I'm assuming that's something that they saw, because he also really doesn't. Sometimes he won't throw this ball if the safety is sitting on underneath on it. But at the last second, you see how he kind of gives it a peek right there. I think that was a huge part of it, because he uses those eyes to kind of just wash the safety back up, and then he comes back down towards the underneath throw. But to me, I thought that was a tremendous play design by Ben Johnson. I thought that was tremendous just to see them do something like that. This was Goff's best pass of the day probably, and this was an audible. I know this was an audible pre-snap. So again, linebackers were passing this off. Okay, in a cover 3 they will, and as you can see here, what's the hole of a cover 3? If you don't know, it's the seams. Cover 3 hole is the seam. So Lions got 3 receivers over here. They are 3-on-3. The linebackers are passing it off. The safety is going to be put in a tough position. Why? Because T.J. Hockenson is going to put the safety in a tough position right there. Okay, so he's going to get upfield and run basically like a post route. So he's going to kind of hold the attention of this safety. He can't slide completely over here. Plus, you got 2 guys on this side. It's specifically St. Brown that's the concern. But in this zone coverage, you're passing these guys off. This outside corner can't come down because your tight end is running deep, so he's going to just keep backing him up, because if the outside corner comes down, it's going to be uncovered over top. That's one of the holes, very well known, of a cover 3 is the seams, and that's what he hits here. And to me, this was his best throw, because look at when he's throwing this football. He's got some pressure. Stenberg got beat multiple times in this game. It forced him to kind of get going a little bit, and sometimes that can maybe mess with your head a little bit, but you could see this was beautiful. And he, again, this is having a feel of, you know where this guy's going to be. I'm trusting it's going to be there. And then putting that trust in Brock Wright. He put a money ball right there. I mean, that was beautiful to Brock Wright. And Brock Wright, actually, I think Goff throws really good seam passes from what we've seen. But at the same time, Brock Wright had one similar to this last year, if you remember, versus the Vikings. But this play was money. I mean, this play is absolutely money. This is my favorite throw from Goff on the day. That thing was right on the money, especially to get into that play. I thought was fantastic. Let's take a look at the next play as well. What is it? Oh, it's the touchdown. Touchdown to St. Brown. This was good. I think this one's cool too, because it's like subtle. Maybe I could be off on this one, but to me this one looks like a lot of subtle things make this happen. It looks basic. It's like play action, throwing out route. What are we doing on defense? But there's subtleties to this, right? Okay, first thing is the play action. It's kind of an unorthodox play action set for the quarterback, right? Usually when Jared Goff does this, and they do misdirection and stuff, but usually when you play action this, he kind of flips himself and turns his body around. Now he can look to this side of the field, right? It kind of turns his body around. In this case, Jared Goff doesn't do that. He sets right back to where he did the play fake. So it looks a little weird, but I think it kind of pulls this corner, because it immediately draws that attention. Like, wait a minute, he is not looking that way. He's looking at me. He didn't flip around. He's looking at me. So now this outside corner is like, wait a second, he's coming this way. And St. Brown ties it all together to me, because as he released a little bit outside, oh, don't do it to us. Oh, they are, oh, I want you guys to see this. I hope it doesn't glitch. Basically, though, what the point is what he does is he kind of makes a subtle jab inside and then breaks outside to time it up with the play action, and the cornerback doesn't even bite, but he just gets a little aggressive inside, and St. Brown has the step that he needs. Please don't glitch. Please don't glitch. Oh, he's going to glitch. But basically takes that inside step and then breaks outside. Now the cornerback's trailing, and Goff's just got to lead him. Let's see if it comes back in. I'm sorry. I don't know why it does it. It just decides randomly sometimes to, like, freeze. You're not going to be able to see it. But you guys trust me on this one, right? See how he gets the step? It's subtle things like that where you're like, ooh, that's a clean little play design. That leverage through the route. So those are some of the plays I want to showcase offensively. There was a lot more good than bad I had in there. I will admit. I did show the bad. I didn't show a lot of the bad in the run game because there was actually a lot of good in the run game. There was some bad to look at. But with that being said, the creativity, I wanted to highlight Ben Johnson and what he was doing. And we're going to probably dive into the defense as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, though. What do you guys think about this? I'm not perfect on everything that I'm saying here. I'm learning. I'm learning the best that I can. In NFL, you know, they do so many like unique coverages that I don't know what the heck they're running sometimes, right? You know, they do kind of their own thing, and they have, you know, they do tricky coverages. Rodgers even said it, right? They do different, you know, mismatch coverages because, you know, they're going against a certain NFL team. So it's tough. I'm learning the best that I can, okay, though? You know, I'm trying to pick it up and understand it the best that I can and share with you guys what I believe that I'm seeing on these plays. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.